pressures, I mean, definitely. So if we go along with this tonight, what time frame are we looking at? Another month, 2, 3, what are we thinking?
So is that's what's in that document?
Yes.
States
Yep.
out April 6th.
My computer died, so.
Yes.
So it states out April 6th.
Yes.
April 6th.
April 6th. The time frame that we're looking at is to, if we get approval this evening to go ahead and move forward with this addendum, is to make and address the final revisions to the comprehensive plan and to these small area plans and have them ready to present to this study review committee on February 27th. On the evening of February 27th, we would also host our final community open house, which will allow residents to weigh in on the plan so that we can incorporate those final that final feedback into the draft, which then we will present to the Planning and Zoning Commission in March, and then also present to the City Council for final adoption April 6th.
Okay, no, I think that's a reasonable time frame. Of course, we'd like to hit it last fall, but I know how this has worked out, so I'm glad we're actually doing this, because then it gives us a chance to reassess this as well.
I then have a question for both Barrett and Brent. Are you guys okay with the timeline? I mean, does that feel
Yeah.
acceptable to get what you need done?
This was worked out the other week. I met with Wendy and some Santa staff. Went through the timeline and MetroCog staff. We went through the timeline and hashed out the schedule between MetroCog, Santec, and City. So we're trying to make sure we're all aggressive, but also realistic with what we felt the timeline could be. If everything went smoothly, each one, we can make it
Because
happen.
those are important sectors that we've been
Yep.
looking at, and so
Yep.
it's good to have that put together now, and so to reflect the current changes that we know that are in play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To address your question, Brian, there shouldn't really be a need for an addendum in the future once we get to this plan, because the only reason we're needing one now is to kind of catch up with everything that's been going on while we're doing the plan. So now that we know everything's in play, get the plan done. The goal is.
And how much do we don't know that's gonna happen in the next 6
Well,
months?
that's why the plan
Right.
is there.
And the purpose of these small area plans is so that when Russ and the Planning and Zoning Commission review some of these plats in the future, they're going to have greater clarity in terms of where these access points and these transportation corridors should go, what the impacts are holistically at these key areas.
I mean, having those 2 small area plans is obviously a priority for us to make sure that those are done right.
Yep.
Right, and I guess I had assumed that those were already included, as part of the overall comprehensive plan. But essentially what you're saying is you want to apply more resources to make that happen in these specific areas versus being more generic, which is the way it was before.
Well, they were done, and
Yeah.
then so many things are moving, and so they need to change them. I mean, it was like the conversation at the meeting was like, it was overload almost, like trying to get the cart behind the horse and, get the information correct and what we need.
We weren't aware of like the school plat areas and Lakeview, a couple other locations. So we weren't incorporating things to what you guys were wanting to do.
So in terms of these fees, is this the total additional and leaf with the bill, or is there still a sharing with MetroCog?
They are, Santec is eating costs right now on the project, not counting this work. That's something that we've consulted with them on to get the plan up to our liking. So they are working towards that. They are going to have costs that are sunk into it outside of this. This is that 10 to 15, so I'll just say 15 is for basically getting the plan current for those small area plans. We would be responsible for that.
Right, there's no MetroCog
No,
sharing, or
no.
this is our expense.
Okay. We'll be
That's what I
going
wanted to just
through.
clarify, so.
We'll go through more hurdles trying to secure
I figured.
additional MetroCog funding. No
Yep.
offense to MetroCog or Adam there, but I know the ball game on that one, and it will take 6 months just to get through all the additional funding. Actually, MetroCog is fairly quick on it, but still, it is timely because we'd have to get North Dakota DOT approval, federal highway approval, and it's just a bunch of steps where if we amend this based on a local push, it's pretty cut and dry, and we don't get too much kickback from Federal Highway or North Dakota DOT.
And we do have enough funding
Yes.
to cover this.
We do have.
Yep.
When I budgeted for professional services such as studies, things like this, I did account for miscellaneous. Something to keep in mind, which we will run across this. I hate to say it this early in the year. Keep in mind with all the different things we have going on, there is some fluid approach with our budget. We're going to have to do amendments at times. Keep that in mind, but yes, there is money to account for that. You'll probably be approached in the near future with other studies or activities that we're going to have to keep in mind that either they fall under contingency or we'll eventually shuffle out the budget to be able to tackle those. So.
Getting these areas is obviously a priority because these are going to be two key areas. So getting the small area plans nailed down is a priority. So if this is what it takes
I'd recommend
to get that updated.
Can I make a motion that we approve the expenditure of $15,000 towards this comprehensive study to allow us to implement the updates to the small area plan?
You said up to, right?
Up to $15,000.
Yes, I'll second
Okay.
that.
Dave, Brian, up to 15K, you said? Okay, we'll roll call this one. John?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Chelsea?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
All right,
There you
there we go.
Dave did put a motion out there. You did say you had kind of a map, you know, they kind of just highlighted.
Oh, the small, yeah,
But you kind of have something you can give us to,
yes. Outlining the specific areas for the small
Yes.
area plans, yes.
that wasn't in your
It was
packet.
not,
Okay.
no. We just included a couple of examples, that 1776 intersection being one of them that we felt was the most critical that needed to be addressed. But it's an example of many others, or symptomatic of many other examples that we're coming across.
Okay.
Right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Brent, you got your update, go for it.
Okay, I have good news. Couple items have arrived, or one item has arrived, another one is on order. The one that has arrived is our new road grader that arrived last week. It's out in the shop now. Public Works staff has already been out there working roads with it, widening out and pushing snow farther out. So when we do get more snow, we know we're going to get it. We have somewhere to push it. Very excited about that, and I know the Public Works guys are very happy to have that piece of equipment. Hopefully that one will last us for quite a while. The other news I have about equipment is at the last council meeting, they approved the purchase of the snow blower. The company had one on site, one unordered, one on site. By the time we called them, they did not have it. It was already sold. The one that they had being shipped to them has our name on it. They have that one on site now. We are looking at either going out later this week, just sending one or two guys out to go pick it up, or getting it shipped to us. So we're waiting, checking out the prices, see if it makes sense to go out there or have it shipped to us. Like I said, looking at weather dependent, obviously, maybe Thursday or Friday, or staff might go out to go pick it up.
It is the one Adam wanted?
Pardon?
It is the one Adam wanted?
Yes. This one could shoot snow very far. As I don't know how else to describe it. It is a lot more durable, higher quality, is consistent with what North Dakota DOT
Well, it's commercial
uses.
grade.
It's a
based.
commercial,
Opposed to-
municipal type use one.
Opposed
I was
So,
driving out to Bismarck last week and I saw one actually
Yeah.
being used out on 94.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw one ordered by the I-29 Industrial Park from North Dakota. I think it was North Dakota DOT doing that, and that thing was shooting the snow pretty far. So obviously they can control it. So just a heads up there. The last one I had, this is never the fun item. It's always a short item for meeting. Well, it's normally for council. Tax equalization meeting we're looking at having on April 21st. If we have, that's during a regular council meeting. If we have to push it back, we have tentatively slated that Wednesday, but we're going to have to play it by ear. During that meeting or that day, Appraisers will be in town, available to meet with residents to talk about their assessments, their valuations. There'll be a letter going out to residents in the near future talking about what their appraised value is based on when the assessors have been out. Vanguard has been out the past 2 years or past 2 summers. They're going to go over that. There is a pretty significant increase in the overall impact. Some are going to go down, some are going to go way up. I've asked Paul Fracassi, the Director of Tax Equalization, to start coming out probably in another month or so. You'll start seeing them, and we're going to start presenting information to you in increments, because there's a ton of information can be thrown at you, and I don't want it to be all at one time. So it's going to be going over, okay, how many properties are impacted with an increase, how many are decreased. You know, we can break out that information, show you the total impact, budget wise that would have on us and others. Also want to show you information of Horace, for cities, we're capped at so many mills equivalent. Well, that's like 105 mills. We're at roughly 60. Where school district or fire district or park district or county, they all have their caps, and to show you relatively where we're at compared to the other entities, just so you know. And so when folks are asking you about or talking to you about their assessments, you have an idea where it could be and where they're at and what the city is actually contributing to it or impacting those residents by. Also, I encourage you to, if anybody approaches you about those, if they get their letters, you can either feel free to talk with them, but I encourage you to have that information in front of you if they're talking with you. So have the letter in hand, so you can actually walk through it with them. If you have questions, I'm more than happy to sit down and do the same thing, explain it. The city council, you guys would approve the tax equalization, but overall the assessments, if residents have complaints about their assessments, the county does the assessment roll for the city, so they need to be talking to the county assessor's office or tax office, assessor's office, not the city. They're the ones that are going to be able to help them. If they contact us, if they contact you about that, just defer them that way. That's because we want to get them in touch with the least amount of hurdles to answer their questions. I don't want to tell somebody wrong information and say, well, you told me this. No, I'm trying to pass you on to the person that can actually help you the quickest and answer your questions correctly. So just letting you know about that. Those are some interesting topics coming up, but the numbers are being finalized right now before the letters are going out. So like I said, Paul Fracassi and I will have a lot more information for you coming up. I just wanted to give you a heads up about it.
And this is a resident's assessed value that will show up on their tax bill in December of 2020 that will be due in the year 2021, correct?
Yep. Or by the end, I believe it's end of first quarter of 2021 is when it's due.
Depending, make it
yeah.
one payment, whatever.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, that's all I had.
All right, portfolio reports. Well, Jim mentioned it too. I've been getting some phone calls from about whether they need to get flood insurance and stuff like that. So I'm just going to say again, we'll get some information out there once Jim puts that information out there so people can make the judgment call themselves, because I know insurance companies have been sending out letters to people, letting them know about that as well. So we'll try and help out as much as we can in getting information out there to folks. Second thing I had on here, last Thursday we got invited to the Home Builders Association annual get together. Each city that was there was allowed to do a 5-minute presentation on their city. Basically it consists of 20 slides. You're basically going through things. You got 5 minutes to do it. Shelby did a great job of putting our slideshow together. It was received quite well. I was the only one up there who didn't read off the script. The rest of those guys reading stuff. It's like, come on, wing it. You should know how this works. Anyway, had a good time. A lot of good ribbing and things like that. But it was a good event to be at. John was there, myself, and Brenton and Barrett were there. Again, we got to chit chat. We got segregated off by cities though, so other people would come and sit chit chat with us, which was kind of nice because then we could just kind of share ideas. And some of the builders and things like that want to come and talk with us because I mean we got a lot of activity going on in town here. So it was a good evening, and I appreciate them inviting us there. So
What was your one takeaway?
just the enthusiasm of all the building that's going to be going on in the metro area is phenomenal. There's a lot of things in play, and we're not the only game, but I mean we're one of the bigger games right now because of the school. But there's a lot of stuff that's in play in the metro, so it's good. It's good. John, what was your take, or what do you got going on?
You know, I kind of sat in the back, and when Corey got up to talk, it was kind of pretty cool to see the faces, you know, side of the Epic companies, the school, the roundabout. Everybody's kind of perked up a little bit more for Horace than, you know, Fire was kind of same old. And not to bash anybody, but yeah, there was some real enthusiasm in the crowd, in all seriousness, and you know, it was great that we got invited to that because we don't get invited to other things.
Yep.
That was kind of Corey did make a point to that. Hopefully the chamber's listening out there tonight, and we'll make sure we're included on the stage, not just in the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we are the big hit in town, in the metro area, so it was cool to see that.
Okay. Dave, what do you got?
Nothing right now.
Chelsea.
No.
Nothing new right now.
Outstanding. Well, anybody got anything else? Otherwise, I'm going to accept the motion to adjourn.
Second.
John, Dave, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, and good evening.